I just watched the movie A Good Person, and I have to say I was sucked into the story for the whole time and was at the edge of my seat until the very end. The reason for that is that Zach Braff created a story that really intrigued me personally, but also that followed all the rules of good filmmaking, at least in my book. First of all, it was just plain good storytelling, meaning having a main character that gets first introduced to us in a way that we start identifying with her strongly and also like her as a person, meaning in the first 15 minutes or so, we get deeply attached to her. And then this character gets thrown in a terrible, terrible situation where she has to get out of. In this case, it's a girl named Allison, played by Florence Pugh, who is about to marry the love of her life.
Every memory I cherish has you in it. I love you.
And then gets into a terrible accident. She's the driver of the car that hits a reversing excavator on the freeway, killing her future sister-in-law and her husband. This not only creates a terrible trauma for her, but this catastrophe radiates out and ripples through all the affected families and people.
The woman that died was about to be my sister-in-law.
Time keeps on coming.
Hi, Dad.
I've been all around.
I'm worried about you.
I want my life back. I want my child back.
Zach Braff uses this material to create a very touching and thoughtful story. For me, it's also a meditation on life and death, relationships, and responsibility. What is amazing about this story is how grieving families are forced to come together and deal with the consequences on a very personal level. And we, as audience, are allowed in a very, very intimate way through the art of filmmaking.
I don't know how to do this.
Takes work.
And by the way, it's not all depressing. There's some pretty good humor in it. I had to laugh out loud a few times. And I love the character Daniel, played by Morgan Freeman. It's a pretty big deal that Morgan Freeman is not recognizable as the Morgan Freeman we all know and who has become his own cliche. Quite the opposite. After a short time, I totally forgot about the public figure of Morgan Freeman and only saw Daniel, thanks to his really superb acting. And talking about acting, Florence Pugh did an amazing job in this movie. I think it's one of her best work. Her quality is being 1, very vulnerable, 2, very open emotionally, and then 3, still being amazing to look at the same time. So what is the movie about besides the main story of an accident and the aftermath? Well, the story is about grief and how we deal with it. In Allison's case, it leads her straight into a terrible drug addiction, and she has to deal with that on top of the real grief while reconciling the relationship with her mother. The story is about guilt, love, basically every human emotion you can imagine, not to forget revenge and anger, forgiveness, which plays a huge role in the relationship between Florence Pugh's character, her ex-fiancé, and his father. But I don't want to get too into the story itself. It seems complicated when I talk about it here, but it's not hard to understand when you're watching it. So I think it's a true actor's film, and a lot of the scenes are little gems just by themselves, and that's where the actors really can shine and do their best work.
Zach writes such good dialogue that it makes you slip into those characters and that world so easily.
What the hell did you do to your hair?
It's Makeover Monday.
It's Friday.
Oh.
So overall, I have to say it's a very good movie, and if you like this review so far, please give me a like and subscribe if you're curious about more videos like this. And at the last part of the video, let me get into the question, what if this movie was a dream? Since you know, I see movies as dreams of humanity that we dream together in public. So this movie is a very realistic dream. It is a what-if scenario. It's when we dream ourselves into a situation that would be horrible and we are forced to experience the consequences of this nightmare scenario, like a very cruel mind experiment somehow. And it makes us ponder about the meaning of life, the value of relationships, and our place in the world. I think these dreams/movies are important for us to grow and think and develop a sense of value for ourselves and the world. Please let me know in the comments if you ever have dreams like that. Interestingly enough, this movie is an extreme contrast to another movie that just came out, John Wick Chapter 4, which is also a nightmare, but in a very different way. And John Wick, as we all know him, deals with adversity in a very different way. It's kind of funny that these absolute opposite movies came out on the same day. But I'll tell you more about John Wick some other time. So I hope you enjoyed this review and see you next time. Thanks for watching.